So today we're going to be deleting the rear muffler and making this car obnoxious. Now some of you out there might have noticed that in my last video my car is actually really quiet. Now I actually reverted the car pretty much to a stock muffler setup just because I knew I was about to chop it all off and do a custom exhaust to make it obnoxious. It'd be all that much more enjoyable, and I'll take you guys through the process. So now that I have the car over the mechanic pit, I can get to working. Now first I'm going to start by removing the rear section of the exhaust. I need to get some measurements for piping, size, diameter, that sort of thing. So I'm just going to quickly knock that out. Now here's the rear section. Now as you can see, the rear muffler is really large, it's bulky and really heavy. This whole thing probably weighs about 40 pounds give or take. I mean, it's really heavy. Now pretty much the game plan is I'm going to cut around here somewhere, get rid of this whole rear part, all of this heaviness, and replace it with just straight pipes back to where the stock exhaust would normally come out. It should sound pretty good, but it'll get rid of a lot of weight. That's the main reason I'm doing it. But now I'm just going to get some measurements, see how much pipe I need, and get to work. So I got my measurements. I need around 5 feet of piping, and now I'm just going to lob off that nasty rear muffler and get it done with. Now actually, before I cut the rear muffler off, I'm actually going to just weld some quick brackets or something like that between these two pipes, so when I cut this off they don't move or shift or anything like that. I want to stay exactly how they are now, so it'll be that much easier when I'm making the rear part here. So I already made a mistake. Now I was just trying to quickly weld these. As you can see, the welds are really ugly, but what I failed to realize was I need to move these past this little bracket here before I weld it. They need to be down there. Obviously I can no longer slide it down there, so I'm gonna have to redo all this, but I'm not worried. It's my own fault. Just push through it. So here's what I got so far. You see I've got the little brackets, but everything's cut off. Now I'm just gonna go get my piping to make the rest of it. And actually I'm gonna throw this on the car now, just see what it sounds like, because I'm curious, you guys are probably curious, and who doesn't love a loud E36? Well, maybe my neighbors, but oh well.
20 minutes later.
Alright, so I got all of my piping. It's the weird kind that slide over each other from your like typical AutoZone auto parts store. So I'm just going to quickly slide them and weld them together. So I got them all welded up now, so I'm just going to take these and line them up with the tips and the inlets to sort of get a rough idea of where I need to cut these. I'm just gonna do a general cut and then work it out, do the angles and stuff like that once I have them cut down.
I'll be okay. I can dream the rest of it. It's just a little touch of fate, it'll be okay. It sure takes its first time, but it's got right so hard. I'm doing my best this time.
So now I'm going to pull the car back into the garage and remove the exhaust, well, the remains of the exhaust from yesterday. And then I'm going to start to work to figure out how the pipes need to run, what angles and stuff like that. My main concern is getting the exhaust to run out the same location as stock. It's kind of weird because the muffler actually comes with a bend in it and I'm using just straight pipes, so they're going to be angled a little bit. But I sort of want it to look stock as possible. I might go a little far outward with the tips so they stick out a little more, but other than that I want it to look almost identical to stock. So here's what I'm working with. Here's where I cut off the muffler. You can see the exhaust goes back. But if you put it up there, it lines up pretty well. It's not really much of a gap or anything. And I'm going to run it right about there. It'll stick out just a little bit, not too much, but it'll be good. I'm just gonna go ahead and start tack welding it and see how everything lines up. Now everything is welded, the exhaust is pretty much done. Now I'm going to have to throw it on the car and probably do some little adjustments, but everything came out really even. And what else to do but test fit it now. Alright, so I got it all test fitted up, and as you can see it came out really even. Both of them come out the same distance, same angle and everything. Now the only difference between stock really is these might come out just a little bit farther and the stock ones have a little slant to them, but anybody that sees this, it isn't really going to catch their attention. It looks really OEM and that's what I like. I don't like big exhausts that draw attention. So now that the exhaust is essentially done, I'm just going to probably sand the tips, try and polish them a little bit. I'm not sure if I will or not. But I'm going to paint pretty much the whole thing black just for rust prevention. I want this exhaust to last a while. I don't want to have to worry about rust holes or anything like that. So it doesn't hurt to just throw a quick layer of cheap paint on it. So here it is, it's pretty much completely done. I just need to make some exhaust hangers for the rear. I'm just going to use some thin metal rod and go from the exhaust pipe to the stock muffler mounts. It'll be pretty simple, but then I'll be able to throw in the car and we can finally hear how this thing sounds. So here it is, I've got it all done and hung up. So now it's in the daylight, we can actually get a good look at it. As you can see, it does stick out a little bit more than stock. Nothing crazy, it's not like rice or anything, it's very simple. But now we'll just start the car up and actually see how this thing sounds. that's the exhaust. Now don't worry, I'll do a full video on the exhaust soon enough. Now as far as upcoming videos, I got a hydraulic handbrake coming in the mail. I know a lot of you guys out there are excited for that. I'll do a how-to on it, just general stuff like that. And actually this weekend I have an autocross event, so I'll be going to that and making a video on it. I'm really excited, and I have a bunch of other videos planned, just general stuff, but look forward to that, and subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed it. But until then.